So again, good evening sa inyo, Kevin, Analjon, Jerwin, Ivy, and Steph. So later I will check the attendance. So I just have posted dito sa Create. I just have posted yung last discussion natin, which is about IMRAD. And I did take it. So ito nga page. So as I have said, this would be our page 33. Last week for our summer classes, and then we'll have first week of September for our first semester. So as I have promised, before we continue with our discussion about IMRAD, so I think we've done the different wala ko na prepare. So the different methods, introduction, materials and methods. So we have done this one. Materials and methods, results, figures, tables, and discussion. Wait lang. Tama mo ko. So we have discussed this as part of the IMRAD, yung abstracts, structured abstract, and what are the keywords. Yeah. And what else? Introduction and materials and methods. Tama ba ko? Can you help me? Where did we stop sa results and discussion ba? So anyway, I will have a rundown anyway. So dili yun siya thorough na ko i-discuss, no? So okay. So part of the IMRAD, again, introduction. As you can see, in your introduction, you should able to present these three: the background of the work, and also incorporated in the relevant literature, and the logic or the reason behind what your hypothesis, and also why did you conduct the study, and also most importantly, the objectives of the work. And then in your materials and methods, this include questions: what did you use and what did you do? So yung tip lang dito is just you describe all the materials, lahat, equipment, lahat talaga, you describe everything. And there are standards in naming, like in the house of sa ATR House of Style, merong mga metric units and standard nomenclature, including the name ng genus and species, cultivar, meron tayong standards for that. No? And also sometimes when you do the methods, especially if it's laboratory methods, so you have to cite the author where you got the specific method, like tissue culture by Barba and Ramon Barba and Barba, because he's the one who started the earlier tissue culture in banana. So for example, like that. So again, also in crop protection, like, or even in biotechnology, when you do your methodology, you also have the methods used by so on and so on 2021 with certain modifications. So You sometimes state like that. Parating ng parating. So, what else? And also, well, kung kailan ko nagkasave, kung kailan ko nag-ano. Okay, so to continue, yeah. For the methods naman, this is what you did. So, you have to be specific. That last time na ibigay ko na yung example, no? Like, how did you measure the plant height, no? From the base up to the longest leaf, something like that. Check ko lang ulit ang attendance. Okay. Something like that. Okay, so that's for your method. So hopefully you have read this one, and also other methods are yung statistical techniques that you have used. That's very important in the methods, no? Like the analysis of variance or the t-test or the standard deviation. And if you have and even no, if you create your own method for the first time, this like it's new and original, you should describe it in data, especially like if it is tissue culture and you are creating your own methods on how to do it, it should be detailed so that anyone, and also in biotechnology, so that anyone who would fight you or who would also copy your methods can also do it again. And also in crop protection, that's very important. Now, in the result naman, you were going to describe what happened in your experiments. So you can present your results without still comment, no? Like you just enumerate what happened. But sometimes in your result, not sometimes, but definitely you should not repeat what is stated in the figure or what is shown on the table. No, and you just interpret them. So interpretation is different from comment. Kasi ano ibig sabihin ng like for example, this treatment or treatment 6 ang highest plant height or highest weight of live chicken. So what does it mean? Or I mean, if it has the highest, so it means very efficient siya. But you don't comment on them yet, no? In your own interpretation. So later you will know in the discussion, although, in the discussion on how to comment them. But I've given you example prior to this, and some of the example is that you comment on the result by comparing them with previous result. Does it drive? Does it coincide? Or is it the same? Does it contradict? So something like that. So, and also, what are the connections to different statements and detail to and also combine results with a discussion sometimes. So result and discussion can be combined at the same time. No, like you present the result, the highest treatment is treatment 5, and this, ayun, you interpret and then you discuss immediately. But it would always depend on the journal na mga standards or journal journal na mga standard style, what I mean, style or guides, no? So then as I have told you, I'm going to teach you how to do the figures and tables in the Word. So, but before that, repeat boring statistics in the text. So there is no need to repeat boring list of statistics in the text when they are already in the table. So yun. As I have said, sa figures and tables, it's also very informative that it can stand alone, not just like a sentence. Like lahat nandun na to interpret what's in the table, like all the titles, all the headings, and footnotes and subheadings. So I have shown you how to say that what does the, diba, means in the same letter are not statistically significant, something like that. And do not say the results of experiment A are reported in table 1. So usually it should be said, treatment using experiment 1 or A gave 50% greater yield than the control. So that's an example. Or sometimes you said it's presented in table 1, but so in this authorship, they don't want you to use that, but immediately give them the result, the thorough result. And make sure you mention every table and figure in the text. That's a must, no, na pag mayroong table like this one, after this sentence, you cite the table 1. So it means it can be shown in table 1. So without even saying this. Although in the examples that I have given you, they still say this is still shown na the results of experiment A is presented in table 1. And also on how to make tables on illustration in the later chapter. So in the discussion naman, I just finished this before I will show you how to do the ano. So you will answer the meaning of the result, and you should comment on why do you think this happens and what is the effect or the implication on this one. And this in this site also, although hindi pa naman kayo gagawa ng discussion, no, but when you do your OIP, even it's narrative, you still have to discuss the result of your experience or on-job training. So, and this is needs deep thinking, and it's very demanding kasi you have to use your own imagination, your own thoughts on this, and also interpretation on, para siyang like kung ang diary ka lang, parang it's not only a diary, a narrative is like a diary, but when you do the discussion, you are also describing, wait lang, mawala ko ang video. You are also describing the yung parang ano, what is the effect of that experience to you and also to your readers, no, or to the general, to generally, like when you learn that, when you learn how to do to take care of plants or to do the chicken production, so then when you discuss it, so for you, is it parang profitable ba ganon, or is it impossible, or parang ano ba siya, kanang difficult to learn, or is it only difficult, parang ganon na mga comment. So yun lang naman when you do your narratives. And what else? Interpret your results to understand the findings and distinguish among mass of information and select what is relevant to your argument, and you use the findings or statements to come to clear in a conclusion. So before you conclude, based on your experience, so it's although it's not conclusive when it's not supported by statistical analysis or a scientific data, but then you have to say kanang, like, if you can only say that this treatment is very effective or efficient or could be of help to the farmers when you cite them the data or the evidence. Okay, so this is what I am actually talking about, claims and evidence. So reliable evidence to support it, and it's only through your data gathered and also the result of your statistical analysis. So it should be accurate and precise. So if you have secondary data, so it should be backed up with a good data and a good report. So usually we have the Philippine Statistics Authority, no, although many would say nga dili gyapon accurate yung kayo sila, no, when it comes to statistics. But then it's the only parang reputable organization that we have who always do that research now and then. And then it should be sufficient enough to claim your conclusion, and it's very authoritative or authoritative. It means that it's supported by evidence. Like when I say that RMC has a quality education, so that's very authoritative. So how can I say that it has a quality education? First, we have a very complex learning management system where you can see we are doing right now. So I just have to check again the attendance. Sorry for this. So or in reference naman sa lahat ng ano, like for example in your data, if you conclude that the effect is not significant kasi pare-pareho lang siya ng effect, or if you say that it is effective because talaga it's only by statistical analysis that you can say na you can conclude na effective yung treatment mo or yung feeds na ginamit mo. And then in the end, in your conclusions, your main and final conclusion is it's not actually just a repetition of what you have said in the discussion, but sometimes you also, it's just the same information, but you make sure that you stated it in a similar, not a similar, in a different way na it's something, a summary of all the findings together, and plus how would you recommend it? Highly recommended for, or what are your recommendation in your because of your conclusion. And lastly, your acknowledgement. So you have to acknowledge the funding agency, the people or the technical people who help you in this paper, and also your references. In this book, you can see the different on chapter 7 on the next chapter. So these are just the references. So, and before we proceed to the next topic, which is writing na the research paper. So these are just initial steps which are already been mentioned earlier, but it's also good to read some specific points in here. So, but before we proceed in here, let me just show you. Asa naman to kung word? I can't find my word. Open file na lang po. So I'll just teach you how to do the tables and figures. So bear with me kasi gamit lang ko aning MacBook kung kuan nara ko diri sa balay, but in the office I always use the na siya pag Word, I mean Windows, no? So, of course, let's say, what's the title of your table? For example, the yield, let's say yield in kilogram per hectare of eggplant as affected by, there's also so many ways to say as influenced by or increasing yield of eggplant using foliar fertilizer, for example, or organic foliar fertilizer. So if you are going to make a table on that, so meron kang 5 treatments, for example, so insert ka lang dito ng table, no? So you just use, also pare-pareho naman sa Windows, no? You insert lang nimo ang table and let's say you have title, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 treatments, and then let's say ang yield mo is meron kang ilang data. Isang data lang naman ang yield mo. So these are your treatments and this is your yield. So dali lang man maghimo og table. And then you can also follow a format, no? Like you say, you use this format or you use this format. So what are the let's say treatment 1 is the control. Treatment 2 is with the NPK or the recommended rate of from soil analysis. Treatment 3 yung may foliar fertilizer. Treatment 4 yung both half lang ng NPK and then foliar fertilizer, and treatment 5 combination ng recommended rate ng foliar fertilizer at saka NPK. And let's say ang eggplant mo is although kilogram per hectare, no? Usually naka-tons per hectare na siya. So let's just not say per hectare because I cannot memorize the standard, or any one of you who knows the yield of eggplant usually in a kilogram, in a hectare. Not usually ang ginagamit kasi sa mga statistics ay tons per hectare. So let's just say kilogram per plot, no? To be safe. Kasi basing mamali ko. Anyway, you will see in the PSA, no, katong mga different yields niya in tons per hectare, mga reports sa statistics. So, let's just say ang treatment 1 is na meron lang siyang, this is in kilogram, ha? Per plot. So, let's say imong plot is 10 by 10. So, you have 100 square meter or whatever. Let's just say na kay 10 kilogram in treatment 1 and then 20 and here is 30, and here is 50, and this one, let's say 55 siya, no? So this is now the table. So ganun lang kadali. And if you're going to make a, diba naman siya ANOVA, no? You will say he means with the same letter are not means with the same letter are not significantly different at 5%. Let's say kasi isang asterisk lang siya. So highly significant siya if, asan ang asterisk? If ano siya, 1%. So double assertion pag 1% level of probability using HST, not significant difference test. No, so may ganun. And then you're going to write the CV pa, no, in percentage. So this, as the coefficient of variance, will tell you how, and of course, what does asterisk means. Asterisk means that it is significant. So, and CV will tell you, kasali na yun sa statistical analysis, no? And let's say, meron kang 1.5. So, ibig sabihin, 1% lang ang parang variation, ang kaibahan niya. No? Parang, so it's really very, tawag doon, yung research mo ay very, ano talaga, reliable. So, if, like, ang variation is 100% or 90, so ang laki ng variation, so parang magduda ka, is it really reliable? Kasi ang laki ng variation niya. So parang gano'n. And then you will see, let's say ang A, so ano lang ni mo na, i-superscript lang ni mo na, no? And then copy, or Control C, then Control V, and then i-paste nimo. Kasi sa MacBook, iba, lahi po siya. So pwede sa Windows, pwede rin siya Control C ang copy, and then Control V ang paste. Pero dire sa lahi mangod. Unsa inyo hang laptop di ay? John Paul, unsa mo laptop?
Cellphone lang, ma'am, oy.
Cellphone
lang.
laptop.
Ma'am, di na ako ipangutana. Basa gani kutob ang review paper gani.
You in your not my conclusion.
Ma'am?
Track, introduction, conclusion, and abstract, introduction, results, and conclusion, and references.
Ang review paper, ma'am, no?
Yes.
Sige, ma'am.
Okay, so before tamawad ang time, and let's say D na siya. So it just means that nagbutbot ra ko aniha, but it should have a statistical analysis. So it just means that ang T4 and T5 are magka-pareho. The same lang sila ng effect. And imagine yung T4 kanina ay 1/2 lang, 0.5 ng NPK plus foliar fertilizer. Samantalang itong T5 are combination ng full recommendation, no? RR, NPK plus foliar. So imagine, so ibig sabihin nito, dalawa silang letter A, highest pa sila. So imagine, pwede rag half ra sa basal nga complete fertilizer imong apply niya full basta na siya foliar na recommended rate kaysa mag full ka sa makaless pa ka og kanang imong complete basal fertilizer and then followed by this is foliar fertilizer alone and this is NPK alone and D is control no application. Kani NPK lang, kani foliar lang. So halimbawa lang na. And then let's say you choose na hindi pwedeng pareho lang ang in your presentation you just choose whether you select a table or a figure. Now if you are going to select a figure, you just do insert again. Insert a chart. So pangitaan lang is you always do insert and then a chart. Actually, pwede ka sa diretso sa Word or pwede po ka sa Excel mo buhat, no? Then you just insert a chart. Na, most probably, ang is bar chart ang kuan. Ang iyang nalagi statistical. Bar chart ang iyahang marag. So you will be directed ang mas applicable sa ano. So you will be directed in the Excel. So automatic na siya. So you just since isa lang ang ating data and we have 3 treatments, i-cut lang na nimo siya or i-delete. So kasi yield lang atong data eh. And then we have 5 treatments, diba? T1, T2, T3, T4. Isa. Kita ba ninyo? And T5. Isa na sa inyo nakabuhat na og figure. So you can also make use of photo if you have photo no, nga naka-arrange siya. And then, of course, naka-label siya well. So I guess if I remember it right, 10, 20 ang atong data kanina, 30, and this is 50 and 55. So we will just, so nana na siya, no? Wala na siya. With one more flyer is in this workbook. Why? So, i-close ni mo or i-kana, so muna na siya. Close ni mo Excel, so na siya. Muna ni imuhang yield. O diba, ganun lang kadali maggawa ng figure or data. And then, of course, again, like this one, you have to write, let's say this is table 1. So, dapat in-ana siya. And let's say, pag figure naman, sa baba sa figure niyo mo ibutang ang title niya. So, let's say this is figure 1. So, do you have any questions? We still have 5 minutes. So, pwede po niyo na i-change imuhang yield, no? Kasi bawat, imuhang yield, imuhang figure. Kasi bawat, or halimbawa, you just go back, like for example, na accidentally close nimo ang Excel, no? Pero pag once i-click na nimo, and then you will find edit data Excel. Or you can also say select data or edit data in Excel. Yan, balik na siya. Na if ever dugangan nimo siya, no? So you will just say yield or dry matter, dry weight, for example, and you just say here 5, 6, 5, 8, 9, 12, 15. When you say it's in grams. So pagbalik ni mo anak dere, so na naka-yield na to kay dry weight. And if you want like gusto po ka, this is a bar chart kasi, and then if gusto ka, murag siya, himuan siyang line kasi naman po'y gamit ko ang line na ano. So, kani siya mga, if gusto, unsay gusto ni mga design na in ana siya, no? Mamili ra ka dere kung unsay mong gusto na design. So, going back to there. So if ever gusto nimo siya ihimong dili ka gusto og kanang bar chart kasi kung bar chart mo man gyud na iyang gamit no kanang kung kinsa sa iya ang pinakataas, but when you do the line chart ano na siya change, you just change chart type and you have a lot in here. Let's say you say line imong gusto. So, unsa klase nga line kani for example. So, you can see na mag-line na siya dara. No? But ang ibig sabihin ng line kasi like this is treatment 1, like kaning when say kaning nga line is the yield. So, nagpa-increase yung yield. No, but it's still just the same treatment. Muna yung pasabot ba ka ng tanaw ni mo ang, let's say ang blue is ang yield. So, but in the yield of treatment 1 is nag-increase ba siya after or plant-tide, let's say plant-tide, na-increase ba siya through time? Like this is 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. So, muna gamit sa kanang line chart, no, kanang matan-on nimo ang iyahang increase or history from time. But because this is to see the difference between treatments, so you should always use the bar chart, not the line. So do you have any questions or clarifications? We still have 1 minute left.
Ma'am Din, pwede pa magpasa Friday?
Yes, the deadline is 14. Pero ang nakaset sa inyong gituyo ra po na ako na is 21. Pero mahuman,
Ay, okay, ma'am.
mahuman na atong klase. So kasi murag 21 pa man ang deadline sa grade. So I will still give you. And if ever like you cannot comply the requirements kasi you have valid reason. So I will just give you INC and you have the whole year to comply it. But please don't wait the whole year, ha? Kaya inig mo graduate mo, magkabuang na po si Ma'am Edna og kanan sa inyong mga NP. Kasi ang maglahi mo gud ang RNC no, dili mo matag-grade kung dili pud mo fully paid. So dili gyud po na mo ma-encode ang grade ninyo. Naka-grading sheet talaga siya. Di ba supposedly online man siya? Sorry, abi na kung nakalimot ko record ba. So do you have some more questions regarding tables, charts, figures?